Hey guys, recently there was a newcomer to the statue review game on YouTube, and this newcomer did a review on XM Studios' Venom, and she looked very different than me and a lot more things came out, so I thought it'd be a challenge. Let's see if I can get more views than her. Yeah, right. Hey guys, welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X. Today I decided to review this piece for two reasons, and honestly it had nothing to do with that other video that came out, but if you're curious what video I was talking about, you can check it out here. So the first reason I'm reviewing him is, as you guys may or may not know, I've been going down this path of reviewing all my Spider-Man pieces while the Killer Croc virus slows down new arrivals. That's reason number one. Reason number two is I was wearing a Spec Fiction shirt today, and I realized that this is the first piece I ever bought from Spec Fiction. It just kind of hit me. I bought it probably 3 years ago. I don't even remember how long ago. So first of all, Spec Fiction is a third-party distributor located in California. They sell collectibles that are very hard to get in the United States. They're one of many great distributors out there, but they are my favorite and I use them the most. And eventually I got to know the owner. And he's just a fantastic guy. He's a collector like you and I are. And just so you know, I don't get any perks. I don't ask for any perks. I don't want any perks. He just does great business. I pay the same prices that you guys do, and I definitely recommend you check them out. However, our first few interactions, he was trying to get top dollar for this statue because he's a smart businessman. At this time, this statue was going for outrageous money because it was already sold out. And I think I definitely overpaid for the piece, but it kind of introduced me to him, and we went down that route and became friends. And to this day, I still order tons of stuff from him. But let's dive into this piece because, as you guys know, I'm a huge Venom fan. I love Venom. He's one of my top 5 favorite characters. I have 20 Venom statues. This is just another one. I actually do a countdown of all of them right here. And I have quite a few more Venom statues coming in, but to me, this is classic. So this is made by XM Studios. This is 1/4 scale. And what's really crazy about this piece is XM Studios kind of pioneered the way on some of the stuff they did with this statue. And to this day, it still holds its value much higher than retail, even though they made 1,000 of these. Actually, 999. But who's counting? And we're going to talk all about that when we get to the concept and design. We're going to use the extreme scale. Extreme scale is right here. It's a 1 through 5 scale. T on the far left means trash. X on the far right means amazing. And we look at all these different aspects of the statue, starting with concept. And I think this is where it's really key. When I talk about Venom statues, it seems like the base is either in a sewer or on top of a building. That's no exception here. And as you'll see, it's the clock tower, so it kind of ties into Venom's origins. When the symbiote suit was pulled off of Spider-Man, so I like that they tied back to that. And you assume it's also at the top of a building and the clock is destroyed. And there's some different things in this base we'll actually talk about with design. And as you move up Venom, he is very humanoid. That's the second thing I always talk about, is generally Venom is very creature-esque, where he looks more like an animal, or he has a lot of human features, which is the case here, which is the Venom I prefer, even though I think the creature-esque Venom is very good. And I love the pose on this guy. He is in a lunging pose, and it's a mix between a museum and a dynamic pose, where museum typically means he's standing stoic, and dynamic means he's in the middle of an action, and this kind of suffices for both. And he is really just showing off who he is through his presence, his massive presence and strength and power. And to me, this is the perfect Venom statue. It's the Venom, while it's not directly from the comics, because there's so many variants of Venom, it captures everything I would want in a Venom statue. And I think that's why this piece is so amazing, because on the concept alone, I give it an X or a 5 out of 5 on the concept. And as I review this, I'm really falling back in love with this again. And someday I need to review all my Venom statues for you guys. I've reviewed about half of them, but the other 20 are at my office. And I'm in the middle of moving offices, where I may make a reviewing studio in my new office, so I can do it at the office.
That's what she said.
Next thing we're going to talk about design. Design, we talk about displayability, switch outs, things like that. And it has some really cool things going on here. First, I want to talk about the switch outs. You have 3 different heads. One is kind of a Bagley head, Bagley the artist, very similar to that, which I like a lot. The second one's more of a Del Otto. This is more creature-esque. Elongated mouth, huge tongue coming out, and we'll look at these a little bit closer with paint and sculpt. And the third was what XM Studios did to pioneer the way. They made a transformation portrait. To my knowledge, one of these had not been done at the time, but now it seems kind of standard, especially with customs, that they're doing a mid-transformation where you see Eddie Brock and the creature together. And since day one, I've actually always displayed that one. There are some better custom transformation portraits out there, but this one is very good. The other thing they did is with the base. Right here, you have just a traditional base that we were talking about, and we'll look at close-up pictures with paint and sculpt, but you can also add some of the symbiote, whether these are tendrils or whatever, tentacles, whatever you want to call them, coming out. Now, I didn't prefer these at all. That's why you're seeing a stock photo, because I left these in the box. Not a fan of these, but as you see here, they do have pieces to cover up the keyholes they go in, which is incredibly smart. One thing really good is scale here. We talk about scale. Venom is a huge character. So Eddie Brock is bigger than normal, and then when he turns into Venom, even bigger. I think the scale on him is perfect. He is huge, and the way his presence is, he's kind of leaning over other creatures, so you can make him facing off against a Spider-Man. Or, I guess as you may or may not know, Venom actually kind of becomes an anti-hero. But I like how the base doesn't take up a lot of footprint for such a huge commanding statue. I also like how the display ability of him, no matter which way you're looking, turning, it's pretty decent. There's cool angles everywhere. So very big props to XM Studios. Now, because there are 3 different portraits, there is a small seam line, but they did a decent job of hiding it. Here's a picture of it right here. And honestly, that's going to happen no matter what. However, I think the fact that you do have a seam line downgrades the design. I think it's the one thing I would change on this, and so for that reason I give a 4 out of 5 on this piece. This is a rail. It's not a grail, but it's something you really want in your collection. Now, one of the other things, this is more design, but we will talk about it with paint and sculpt, is the spider symbol. Some people are very particular of how the spider symbol is on Venom's suit, and here it is very different because it's connected in the front and back, and you'll see that in a second. But I'm going to do a little bit different review. I'm just going to kind of talk about different highlighted areas of what's going on, and let's start with the base. This base is phenomenally done. I think they did a great job on the texturing and the paint of the cement aspect to it. The huge cogs for the clock look very cool, this faded rust color. And then look at pieces of the damaged clock. Very cool. They have that gold trim. This was a huge clock. And it was more of a bell tower that he was kind of born out of. But still, very well done. I love the shading on this. I love the texturing. And one thing, let's look at his feet here. What's interesting is there's different interpretations of Venom. Sometimes people think that his suit kind of turns into a shoe, so you don't see toenails or anything like that. But sometimes they do the toenails, and traditionally, with the nails, they either do black or white, where these are kind of a mix. While they're more black, you see some different colors of enamel in there. They're very shiny. And then as you move up through Venom, and I'm showing you different shots here, you have a couple things going on. First, the anatomy is phenomenal. This is like a bodybuilder, which Eddie Brock kind of was. So very trim, but very muscular at the same time, and his power is very imposing. And then on top of the normal black suit, you see the symbiote, this glistening, shiny vein effect, kind of like the suit is moving. It doesn't look overpowering. I think they did just the right amount. And one cool thing is the body is all one piece, so there's no other seam lines or issues like that. And as you just look at the different musculature and anatomy throughout, it's very, very impressive. Here's a picture of that spider symbol. I like that they added the blue shading in here, very accurate. The symbol itself is not accurate to the comics, but this is kind of their own interpretation based off the comics, so I really like that. And I do like, here you can see on the side how it moves up and connects from the front to the back. I think I like it because it's different. Look at his hands. I love massive hands. Again, those awesome nails. I love the shape that they're in. It's just very, very cool. Now let's look at his portraits. Here's some shots of the Delato portrait. They did a fantastic job with the teeth and how elongated his jaw is. Check out a close-up of the tongue here. Great texture. Moist glistening effect on it. Here's the Bagley portrait, or what I call the Bagley portrait. To me, this is Venom. I don't like the Venom with the tongue as much, although I do enjoy it on some statues.
That's what she said?
But it's very cool, very well done. Classic Venom. And then here's the transformation portrait. They did an awesome job on Eddie's face. I love the whited out eyes, the details around his teeth and mouth, even in his hair. I think the way this is transforming is perfect. As I said, a lot of customs are coming out with transformation portraits, and some are really good, some are not. But this kind of led the way And while I think some of the newer customs do beat it for the transformation portrait, this is still very, very good. And with so many great Venoms out there, there's always this argument: what's better, XM Studios, Sideshow, Prime 1 Studios, which is better? Honestly, I'm thinking, now that I did the review, if I put him against the other ones, right now he beats Prime 1 for me, and Prime 1 was previously beating him. I'm gonna give both the paint and sculpt, I think they're a 4 out of 5. I think they're really done well. Which, doing the math, I think the statue overall is also a 4 out of 5. Definitely a rail, which is why the price is higher than it used to be. So I never talked about the original price, but this originally retailed for about 990 Singapore dollars, which is like 750 US plus 300 shipping. Typically now it's $1,000 to $1,500. For all the other Venom competition, he was going for $1,500 to $2,000. But I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic. Here's some closer video for you guys just to capture some of these details. So if you like this, check out some of my other Venom statue reviews right here, or subscribe to the channel so you can catch the new Venom pieces when they drop. Really appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, take care.